G'day and welcome to Redriven. Now, the much hyped new 300 Series Land Cruiser and therefore Lexus LX is soon to arrive. And according to Toyota, is set to dominate the local landscape even more comprehensively than ever before. But with the 300 Series pricing ranging from just under $90,000 to around $140,000 here in Australia, depending on which of the 6 variants you choose, it got us thinking. Working on the average price being $115,000, what else can you buy on the used market that also ticks the new Land Cruiser's boxes? Plus, with the waiting list for the new 300 Series getting longer and longer, what can you buy on the used car market right now? Well, before we answer that, we've got some quick rules. To be considered, these cars had to be as internationally available as possible, and they need to match the new Land Cruiser's incredible set, or potentially incredible set, of both on-road and off-roading skills, their levels of practicality, luxury and comfort. Now, there were loads of potential contenders for this list, but after the video, we want to know, would you buy a new 300 Series Land Cruiser, or would you buy one of the vehicles off this list? After the video, let us know in the comments. Also, even though this list is numbered, all of these vehicles make excellent 300 Series alternatives, so there's no winner as such, they're all special in their own way. Anyway, here are our picks for 300 Series alternatives. Okay, first up we have a brother or a sister from the same mother, and it's arguably the vehicle that the 300 Series is going to be compared to the most. It's the 200 Series Land Cruiser. Even though the 200 Series has its detractors, claiming that the Land Cruiser has become softer and softer with each new generation, and look, that is something that the new 300 Series will be battling to disprove, there's no denying that the iconic Toyota has always been able to hold its own in the worst conditions and on the toughest terrain while keeping its occupants safe, secure, and very comfortable, no matter what generation. And thanks to Toyota's unparalleled support network and the fact that the 200 has been with us for what feels like an eternity, the 200 Series is rarely far from spare parts and qualified help, not that you'll ever need either. Price-wise, 200 Series Land Cruiser pricing has gone crazy of late, with plenty of recent, accessory-laden and near-new examples asking well over $200,000. However, the 300 Series average price tag of $115,000 should get you behind the wheel of a 2018 or 2019 200 Series Land Cruiser in a high spec with loads of goodies and in great condition. And while the 200 Series packs the long-serving 200 kilowatt, 650 Newton meter V8 turbo diesel under the bonnet, the 300 Series twin-turbo diesel V6 engine dominates the old-school muscle by 27 kilowatts and 50 Newton meters respectively. The new Land Cruiser also has a much stronger power-to-weight ratio as well, nearly 91 kilowatts per tonne versus just 73 in the 200 Series. Plus, while the two cruisers share very similar suspension fundamentals, a 200 Series for this price can very possibly be equipped with some quality aftermarket improvements and modifications, whereas the 300 Series, depending on spec, comes with a host of new technology and upgraded off-roading equipment over its predecessor. So, 200 or 300? Let us know in the comments after you've seen the rest of the video. So this next option had to be on the list because while the Land Cruiser started off as a tough workhorse of an off-roader back in the 1950s, it has evolved into something of a luxurious vehicle, which is pretty much the exact same evolutionary story as this next option. It's the Range Rover. Thanks to the Range Rover's near insane levels of depreciation, you can get behind the wheel of a 2013 to 2017 Range Rover in everything from V6 Vogue to V8 Autobiography for around about the same price as the 300 Series. Now look, it's important to know that a 2015 SV Autobiography, when new here in Australia, would have set you back around about $370,000. That same vehicle now is asking around about $115,000 on the used market. So it's lost $255,000 in depreciation. That's over $42,000 a year. But what you get for your $115,000, as long as you ignore all the potential mechanical and reliability minefields that the Range Rovers are renowned for, is pretty incredible. The 300 Series is sure to tackle the toughest wilderness while providing a very comfortable accommodation for its occupants, but the Range Rover takes those talents to another level. Even after a few years and thousands of kilometres, not only is the big English off-roading limousine capable of some incredible terrain tackling, but its interior is about as plush and luxurious as it comes. Okay, the Range Rover doesn't have the same tough-as-nails reputation as the Land Cruiser, but realistically, how many 300 Series owners are genuinely going to explore the outer limits of what their new Land Cruisers can do? Many 300 series will be used to potter around town, dropping the kids to school, grabbing a coffee and parking at the front of Pilates, and maybe occasionally heading down some dirt track for a camping trip. And if that's the case, well, the Range Rover will do all of that with even more style and luxury. And until it breaks down. Sorry, like, if it breaks down. Okay, next up, it's another Land Rover. It's the Defender, but the new Defender, but like a used version of the new Defender. There's an old saying, you go into the desert in a Land Rover, but you come out in a Land Cruiser. However, only time will tell if that's true, both in terms of the 300 series and the recent Defender. Unlike the 300 series off-road friendly body-on-frame platform and solid rear axle, the Defender sits on a monocoque platform with fully independent suspension. And while many will argue that these attributes will result in the Land Cruiser having far more off-roading ability, the Defender is filled to the brim with off-roading bells and whistles. But then again, so is the 300 series. Both the Defender and the 300 series offer the option of 7 seats. Both feature loads of safety and infotainment tech, and both come with turbocharged 6-cylinder diesel engines. But unlike the Land Cruiser, the Defender can be had in 2 body lengths and with a choice of 4 or 6-cylinder turbo and V8 petrol engines, although the V8 Defender starts well north of $200,000. Plus, thanks to Defenders popping up on the used market, you can potentially avoid the initial new car depreciation. And with the new 300 series landing, the Defender is suddenly not the latest, greatest new thing anymore, and you should be able to haggle for the best possible deal. It may be too soon to call if the Defender has earned its stripes in terms of consumer use and abuse, but the Defender, like the Land Cruiser, has a hell of a reputation to uphold. But for your 115 grand, which do you go for? Do you go English or Japanese? Actually, don't answer that yet, we've still got 2 to go. Okay, next up, it's a bit of a wild card, and look, it is another Land Rover. It was going to be the current generation Discovery, but because it's so closely related to the Range Rover and the Defender, we've decided to go for something a bit more old school. It's the Discovery 4. Okay, yes, the Disco 4 lacks in terms of on and off-road equipment, levels of active safety equipment and infotainment tech versus the 300 series. And look, yes, it is getting a little bit long in the tooth, but a Disco 4 could save you tens of thousands of dollars when compared to a new Land Cruiser. And look, yes, uncared for Disco 4s have a less than wonderful reputation for reliability, but when you're saving so much money over the Toyota, why not just pop that extra cash away to pay for any potential repairs? And how much extra cash are we talking? Well, here in Australia, you can pick up a late model, high spec, mint condition, low mileage and perfectly serviced Disco 4 for around about $80,000. That's a $35,000 saving over the new 300 series. Both the Disco and the Land Cruiser offer a body-on-frame structure. Both have purpose-built transmission and diffs. Both offer some very clever off-roading technology and a turbocharged 6-cylinder diesel power plant. Both can be had with 7 seats and luxurious leather interiors. And both are wrapped in big, boxy yet stylish bodies. So should you seriously consider a Disco 4 over a new Land Cruiser? Well, maybe you should check out our review of a Disco 4 just up there before you make that decision. Now guys, if you're enjoying this video, can I ask a bit of a favour? Can you hit those like, subscribe and bell icon buttons? It really does help us out. And after the video, go and check us out on the socials. Okay, finally, it is the Land Cruiser family's arch nemesis. It's the Nissan Patrol, but specifically the post-facelift Y62 variant, or for those watching in the States, it's the Nissan Armada. Now, while the Patrol and the Land Cruiser have been battling it out against each other for decades, with the introduction of the 300 series, they've quite possibly never been more different in terms of what they both are. The Patrol is powered by a fire-breathing 5.6-litre V8 petrol engine versus the more frugal but so far unproven twin-turbo diesel V6 in the Land Cruiser. The Patrol tops the Land Cruiser on power with 298 kilowatts versus the Toyota's 227, but the Land Cruiser punches back with 700 newton meters of torque versus the Patrol's 560 newton meters. The Patrol's platform is now over a decade old, whereas the Land Cruiser is obviously completely new. The Patrol offers up a 7-speed automatic versus the new Land Cruiser's 10-speed. The 300 series retains a live rear axle versus the Nissan's cross-linked suspension setup. But while these two now differ, they will continue to divide buyers wanting pretty much the same thing. A big, practical, tough as nails, yet comfortable off-roader that will soak up vast distances with ease no matter what the terrain, climate or condition. And the fight between these two gets even more interesting once the price tags are revealed. For the $115,000 average Australian price for the new 300 series Land Cruiser, which look, unless you've put a deposit down months ago, could take many months to arrive, you can have yourself one hell of a Y62 Patrol right now. There are quite a few used Y62 Patrols in mint condition, having travelled minimal kilometres, available right now for new Land Cruiser money, with a few even equipped with some very nice accessories. Okay, look, it won't have the latest safety, driver aid and infotainment tech, and unfortunately Australia did miss out on the lovely looking interior update, but in the real world, the Patrol should more than be able to hold its own against the new Land Cruiser. Now guys, this brings us to the entire point of this video. We want to know which you would choose. Would you have the new 300 series Land Cruiser, or for around about the same money, one of the vehicles on this list, or would you have something completely different? Let us know in those comments. And guys, again, can I ask that favor? Can you please hit those like, subscribe and bell icon buttons? It really does help us out so much. And remember, go and check us out on the socials. See you next time. 6-cylinder diesel. The Nissan's cross-linked which, unless you've put a, now guys, this, maybe, okay, I love that you can now hear my brain thinking. Also, again, can you please do us that favor and hit those like, subscribe and bell icon videos. And also, can you please do us a favor and remember, hit those like, subscribe and bell icon videos. That was a struggle at the end there, mate. Oh my God. Oh my God.